would not be a fall in America without some conversation of Tom Brady. And most of it's been about winning football games. Then it was about retiring for a long time. Then it was about still winning football games. Now it's about Tom Brady, the broadcaster, and specifically Tom Brady, also the owner. Because I think most people saw, but if you didn't see, last weekend during the Raiders game, because he's a minority owner for the Raiders, he was shown on TV wearing a headset in the coach's booth as if he was an assistant coach working for the team. The conflict of interest is created because he's also a Fox broadcaster. And game broadcasters routinely, and this has been going on for decades, prior to a game will get special access to the team so they can, present unique information, give the viewers things they didn't know, make the broadcast attractive. This is beneficial to the NFL because obviously the more interesting the broadcast is, the more people watch, the more money the NFL can get. So the NFL is happy to provide these broadcasters with information they won't provide to beat writers or some other media. So when Tom Brady does these interviews, he, in theory, is getting inside information that no one else would know that he could then, in theory, walk right back to the Raiders coaching staff and help them out with. For example, the Tom Brady this week was the broadcaster on the Bears game, and that's who the Raiders play next week. So the big question is Tom Brady, creating a conflict of interest? Is it wrong? Should the NFL do anything? Well, what the NFL has already said is that Tom Brady, when he does these interviews with teams before games, that he can't be at the facility, that he's got to be doing all these interviews virtually. So I don't see a problem here, because as long as Tom Brady's not at the facility and can't randomly come upon an iPad that has third down defensive plans on it, I don't think Tom Brady's going to get anything of use from Zoom interviews. Even though the coaches and players who are involved in these interviews are, in theory, giving Tom Brady things that other media don't have, these guys are certainly plenty comfortable when it comes to what they say to the media. It's not like Tom Brady can trick Andy Reid or even Ben Johnson, who's in his first year as the head coach of the Bears, into providing information that might help the Raiders. I mean, these guys do media press conferences weekly, more than once a week. They know how to speak in front of a camera without giving anything away. So the idea that Tom Brady is going to get on a Zoom and magically hypnotize coaches and players to suddenly provide information that'll help the Raiders, to me, seems like much ado about nothing. It's kind of like the sky is falling opinion of this. And speaking of that, Diana Rossini, who is a great insider, works for The Athletic, wrote a column over the weekend talking about what the concerns are for Tom Brady. And it read here's everything that could potentially go wrong, even if these things aren't necessarily reasonably likely. Including one owner who thought that, Tom Brady would be able to take whatever information that he was getting from players and coaches and run it back to his team. There's also a suspicion or a belief that there are other people who are working for Fox who are allowed to go to team sites, team headquarters, and talk to teams before a game, and that they might get some information which they can then turn around and give to Tom Brady. First of all, are these staffers guys who've been in the NFL? Because if they're TV people, they're not going to walk out in the field and be like, looks like they're running cover 6 on third down all the time. Wow, look at the linebacker shading over the guard there. They're not going to pick up on these things. And B, media don't get to watch the team part of practice anyway, generally. Those portions of the practice are closed and certainly can be closed if teams want them to be. So teams have ample opportunity to make sure Tom Brady doesn't get any more information than a reporter like me or, some other beat reporter around the country. So I don't see why people would be concerned. I see why. I don't think it's reasonable for people to be concerned about Tom Brady cheating, doing something that's below board to help the Raiders out. Because the teams that he's dealing with have more than enough opportunity and ability to prevent him from gaining any advantage. The people who are the losers in this, the problem here, when you look at conflict of interest, you think, well, this is a problem for the NFL. I don't think the NFL cares. And if the NFL did, they would have done something about it by now. The people who are losing in this are Fox, because they're paying $20 million or whatever to Tom Brady for a guy who can't get the same amount of information that every other NFL analyst who goes to games can get. Because when he talks to a team, he has to do it virtually. And you have to believe that the guys he's talking to are not being as open as they would be for Greg Olsen or Tony Romo or anyone else who is not also an owner of a football team. So to me, the only loser, the only person who has a problem with this is Fox and the viewers of Fox by extension, because they're getting a broadcaster that doesn't have access to the same amount of information that all the other broadcasters would have. At the end of the day, it's not a big deal. I mean, Fox didn't sign Tom Brady because he knows the Buccaneers, secondary really well. They signed Tom Brady because his name is Tom Brady. And they just want to put him on TV. If they were concerned about his broadcasting skill, they might have, had him practice broadcasting first before they hired him. But it doesn't matter to Fox. They just want the name. And they believe that all of you out there watching the game will watch simply because of Tom Brady. Most of you are going to watch the game because of the game. Tom Brady doesn't hurt the name. So I don't think anybody's really losing when it comes to, Fox and the viewers. Although if anybody is losing, that's where I think you put the little marker on. It's where you put the red pin in of who's losing in this. And again, the NFL knows very well what's going on. I mean, this is the most paranoid league in America. I mean, the things that we as media cannot talk about or record on camera are lunacy at times to the normal person. But to NFL head coaches and to front offices and team executives, this is priceless golden information that you can't share anywhere. So in this league, which believes that any possible extra piece of information can totally change a season, if they really thought Tom Brady was a problem, they would have done something more about it by now. And again, I'll go back to obviously what I said before. The NFL has a vested interest in getting people to watch. So if Tom Brady's name helps people watch, it's certainly a benefit to them to where, maybe they would look past some sort of issue when it comes to Tom Brady helping out the Raiders. But again, I still think that despite the NFL's naked avarice for every single dollar they can possibly milk out of the American public, if this was a real problem, they would have done something about it before. I don't think it's a real problem. Again, because the teams know full well how to deal with this problem. They deal with it every day when they talk to all of us in the media.
Endgame with Thad Brown, streaming exclusively on Rochester First.